All right, we are live and I'm recording now, I think. So let's get started with RCOS today. Let's see. We have, I think, right around 50 people here right now, so that's pretty good. I'll pop myself up in the corner, although, unless I stand in the right place, you'll never see me. Just for those of you who want to see what a professor looks like in the wild. So we've got about 50 people here today. We've got 16 of you online, 16 of you in person, which is a record. Doesn't double the last class, but we are moving towards it. And we have another 35 or so online. So welcome, everybody. This is June 8th. In case you're curious, we are at the 5th session for today. If you count it up, I think there's like 12 weeks. So there's about 24 days of admission. So we are rapidly getting toward the middle of the semester. I think we have Hunter Harris on, and Evan Makis, Professor Makis, and Nia. So
I'm here too.
And Nia. So why aren't you showing up at the top of the list? You always were at top before. Anyway, everybody's here. So you guys have anything you want to say first before we get started, or should we just get right into it?
I think we can start.
Cool. Yeah, it would be better, Hunter, if I didn't read and I just said. All right, so all of you guys are blowing everything for me. All right, so anyway, we have everybody here. Let's get started. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what we need to do today. So we've done this a number of times. I'm just going to keep throwing it up there. The syllabus has actually been loaded into LMS now, or APHIS, or whatever it's called. So if you want to look at it, hopefully it says the same thing that this says, because this is what I'm going by and I cut and pasted. If you have any questions, please talk to me. We'll make it right. But that's, kind of the running RCOS requirements. Everything should be there. It shouldn't be difficult. Let's see. Again, I'm going to kind of hand wave my my office hours, because I've got, we're going to generally be about 30 minutes in this classroom, and then we're going to let you guys go off. Some of you can stay here and work individually, or you can form up with your groups or whatever you want to do to keep working together. This is supposed to be part of this, or a good part of this time is supposed to be group work time within the constraints of social distancing and everything else we need to be aware of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to run my office hours here. Come up, talk to me, or don't, yell at me from the back of the room, whatever you guys are comfortable with. Again, I'm vaccinated. I'm not overly concerned. But if you guys want to talk to me here, or you can reach me online, I'll keep the room open until about 3:30. We'll run these as the office hours. That doesn't mean that if you're attending asynchronously, you can't talk to me, or if you don't want to talk to me in front of a group or anything like that. Just let me know. I'm pretty flexible. This is the only class I'm doing this summer, so I can make office hours that fit pretty much any schedule. I don't plan on being up at 5 o'clock in the morning for office hours, but anything other than making me get up way early, we're good with. Any questions? Cool. And actually, I think as we go through, we'll probably start having the coordinators run some of these slides now that we're starting to run our meetings and everything. Let's see. We do have 7 mentors/coordinators. I'm going to leave it open for another week. We're actually meeting Monday nights at 4 o'clock. So if you're interested in becoming a mentor, we have room for a couple more. We have if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, we have a lot of groups. with very few numbers of people. And we ask our mentors to monitor groups. So that means when we have a lot of small groups, it doesn't hurt to have a couple of extra mentors, because the load's a little heavier on the mentors in that case. But we do have 7. Nia and Hunter are both coordinators for RCOS. And then we have some long-term RCOS people: Graham, Bill, James, Leon, Montialegre, sorry, Leon, and Alice. So, please reach out to them. If you're interested, there's a form. You're free to kind of, you'll have to actually give it to me phonetically sometime so that I can get it correctly. I've been taking Duolingo French, but it doesn't really help with, doesn't really help when I'm trying to do a different language. So anyway, everything's up there. I guess I should put myself in a different position so that you guys can actually see the QR code. Let's see, can I do that? Oops. There we go. Yeah, so yeah, I don't want to relive graduation. Okay. That was not, I think they could have done better. Anyway, if you're interested, fill it out. If you are a mentor, I did release the form for mentors to sign up to give a presentation. I think we talked about a number of different presentations that would be really cool to give, including one on Git and one on, what I didn't mention was we should have one on licensing as well. So both of those we have pretty good slides on if you guys are interested. If any of the mentors are interested, please sign up. Mentors are required to give it. That's part of being a mentor. On the other hand, the rest of the class is expected to attend at least one. The way our attendance works is I give you 2 free days. You can miss two lectures at your, whenever you want. You can miss another 2 so long as you go and attend a bonus session or a workshop to make it up. Or in place of attending one, you can also give one. So if anybody has a topic of interest, and even if you're not a mentor, please go out and fill out the form and consider talking about, if you've been working on a project for a long time, or you have an interesting aspect of your project or an interesting technology that you're using. We're pretty flexible with the types of things that can go into these talks. They have to be related in some way to open source, but that's not necessarily a very big constraint. I can relate most everything to open source some way or another, even if it's a competitor to open source projects. That's not bad to visit as well. Differences between open source and closed source implementations of the same basic functionality. So, if you're interested, please feel free to fill it out. The form's live now, and I didn't actually do a QR code. Apologies, but I did use the short form, so I think we're good. Nia, did you settle on a time? Are you still planning on doing it?
Yeah, some changes to this.
Awesome.
It's still going to be tomorrow. I'm going to do it at 4 p.m. And instead of WebEx, because WebEx has been weird for me lately, I'm going to do it on the RCOS Discord and the workshop channel. I've had pretty consistent stability with that.
Are you going to be able to tape it as well?
Yeah, I'm downloading OBS.
Okay, and this is going to be, do you have a room set up or a channel? How do we want to do this?
Yeah, we should have under the topics section, we have the workshop channel.
We do. Oh, good. You guys are ahead of me. It's probably a capital W, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There are other ways to make open source contributions. I think I was talking to a student just before this started about using a blog, about documenting some activities on a blog, and how to license that correctly and how to make it available to us so that we can see the effort that's gone in over this semester. But when it comes down to it, and that's perfectly valid. When it comes down to it, Git is going to be your friend. Learn how to use Git. This is a really good class to learn how to use Git in, because anybody who's taken RCOS for a semester is pretty good with Git by the time they're done. So if you don't know Git, you will be able to pick it up, and you will have lots of people around to actually help you pick it up, which is actually really cool, because Git can be a little bit obtuse, a little bit hard to understand originally. But once you get into it, once you use it a lot, it becomes a lot easier. And Nia's going to give a really good tutorial on how to get started, and that will help you figure out how to get your project started if you're starting a project, or how to get a clone of the existing project if you're working on an external project or working on a project. I believe you talk a little bit about some strategies like Blessed Repository as well, right, Nia?
I can look into it.
Well, just different ways to contribute to the project. Regardless, we can help you out with all of this. Nia's workshop is going to be a really good place to start, and we will get you. Once you get into Git. When I was an undergrad or a graduate student, our preferred method of repository was making directories that said backup, newest version as of, right? And that got really confusing really fast and took up a lot of disk space, and trying to figure out why your code wasn't working when code in backup 612 works is a pain. Git changes all that. And Git changes all of that in a way that allows you to work together as a group and actually make contributions to the same code stream without stomping on one another too badly. So Git is a really good way of going about it. By the way, I had one person I worked with, they developed a library for parallel mesh distribution, and they did not believe in version control. They did not believe in letting you know when they changed the configuration file. And their only error message was !PB for problem. So you would run code that worked 1 week, and 2 days later you would run it and you would get an entire screen full of !PBs. And you wouldn't have any idea what changed, why it changed, or what you needed to do to make it work. Git takes a lot of that away, or at least it makes it possible for people to communicate much easier. So I'm a big supporter of Git. I hated Git for the first 6 to 8 months I had to use it, but now I'm a big supporter. So that just kind of shows you that it's a little bit complex, but it is definitely worthwhile. And Nia's going to walk us through that. I like this one. This is kind of a cool slide. I'm going to keep going for a few more weeks. But I put up this survey for you guys. It's not going to affect really anything other than the department's trying to figure out. The department and the school and everything would like to know your attitudes and how you want to go about things and how much room we need. The department in particular wants to know if we have enough room for this class. Right now we're trending on this classroom being just about big enough if people who want to come, and people who don't want to come, don't come. So right now, with a sampling of 41 responses, I think there's somewhere between 66 and 70 students in the class. It fluctuates just about daily right now. We are sitting at, right about half of you want to be here, and the other half either have a conflicting class and want to watch it later, a conflicting time zone, want to watch it later, or are comfortable in their own rooms, which is all allowed this semester. But again, I'm kind of relying on this because with 41 responses, that means that about 20 of you, which is about just really close to what we have right now, want to be in person, and we will try to accommodate you to the extent we can. And hopefully, we'll be able to stay in this room the entire semester, which would be really great. I like this room. All right, any questions about that? So it's growing. Last time I only had 20 representatives. Percentage is staying about the same. We spent the first 2 weeks getting you familiar with projects. The goal as of last night was to actually have a project. Everybody have a project? I can't see too many people online raising their hands. You all seem to have your cameras off. But in here we have lots of raised hands. You should have heard the cheer of victory that went across the entire classroom. I had to mute the mic so you probably didn't catch it. I don't think anybody's gotten used to talking yet. It's kind of weird. Anyway, we've gotten you all onto projects. If you haven't, there's still time. This is the end of the second week. We're at the start of the main part of the semester. So we want you to start executing. That means that you should have a project. If you don't have a project, well, let's see, what am I saying here? Yeah, if you don't have a project, or if you have a project but you haven't been made a member of the team, let us know. We can work all of that out. If you're looking for a project, we have projects that are available. Please get all the teams put up to date, so that we know everybody out there. I should have checked that before the meeting. I forgot to go through and see if we had anybody who was still looking. As of last night, there were a lot of projects that weren't actually, or a lot of students that weren't paired up. And I just wanted to make sure that you all have a listing of the projects we have. They're all up there. They're online. You can get there with the QR code or the link. It's good to get as many projects with people as possible. I know that we had a kind of an abundance of riches this semester, which gave you guys a lot of opportunities, both externally and internally. So I think that's really good. If you're still looking, like I said, let us know. Let's try not to let this drag on too long. What we want to do right now is we want to stop looking for projects and stop reviewing projects and start figuring out what we're going to do on our projects and how the rest of the semester is going to proceed. And this is just the ones that I went through. I know that Virtual Electronic Music has a good crew, but they're looking for a JavaScript expert. The rest of these are projects that didn't have any discussion on their discussion channel, which may or may not mean anything. You could have reached out with email. They may have come in already staffed. But I just wanted to kind of touch those up and make sure that you guys all had. If you're looking, if there's an issue, we do have options. Okay, so we're assuming that you all have teams. We are moving away from RCOS.io. Well, it'll still be RCOS.io, but the current website implementation is called Observatory. Nia is running the Telescope team, which is working to replace that. We're going from an observatory down to a telescope because we want to focus in on what's important and not try to get all the stars all at once. But this is I may actually have to ask you to do this twice during this semester. But what I want you to do anyway is for now, while we still have RCOS.io as our primary source, I grab projects from there every semester. And for those of you who actually end up liking this course and coming to me for a recommendation, what I will do is I go back and look at RCOS.io to find out the projects you worked on so I can say something intelligent about you in your recommendation letter. Not that you have to ask me for a recommendation. I get a lot of them. I'm happy. But this is mainly a record keeping for RCOS and for me, so that I can see what you worked on. I can kind of trace back and give some meaningful comments about our interactions, particularly when you're all masked sitting in a room and I can't remember, all of your faces to names. So put your project on RCOS.io. You should have already marked yourself as active as an individual, right? That was the first 2 days of attendance. You should mark your project as active if it's already there. If it's not already there, you should add it to RCOS.io. If you're on an external project, we would still like you to report it or put it on RCOS. You can flag it as an RCOS project. Certainly, we need to get the team roster. So one of the people on the external project, one of the RPI people on the external project has to take the lead and get the team kind of made. I think we're through that point, but if there's any issues, I can always, I have the ability to go in and restructure teams. 2 weeks, then you find out you don't like the project you're on. We can restructure it then. Just come and talk to me. And then we want you to be working on, get that stuff into RCOS.io so I can look at it later, look back and see what's been done, and then start filling out your proposal. So what does a proposal look like? I've had a lot of questions about that. We're not... Okay. Just had to go back and check the chat for a minute. So what should a proposal be? We're not asking you to write a government proposal with costing and, 50 pages of, or 5,000 pages of addendums and 50 pages of explanation about the widget A that goes into widget B and connects and then allows widget C to free fall or something. I don't know. We're just asking for some very simple things. I want something that if somebody asks me for an interesting project in, I'll target Poll Buddy, right? Somebody talks to me and says, has RCOS ever done anything on surveying a class? And I can go in and I can look at Poll Buddy and I can have a little explanation of what Poll Buddy is supposed to do. And I can say, yeah, this is a project we had. Take a look at their proposal. Here's their GitHub repository. Go out and see if this meets your needs, or if you want to talk to the students who are working on this. That's the first part, right? It's a general, we want to do this. We think these are the technologies we want to use. Let me know enough that if somebody asks me a question, I can make you guys look good, right? So that's the first paragraph. It should probably be about half a page. In a quarter of the page or so, give or take, what I want is your specific goals for this semester. So maybe in Poll Buddy, they've reached the point where they should deploy. So maybe their goal would be something along the lines of get a minimum viable product deployed by the end of the semester and test it in at least 3 classes for RCOS. No hints there, Hunter. Tell me what you're going to accomplish this semester, and then do a user study and do a re-implementation of everything if we find out we did it wrong. Or just tell me what you're going to get done this semester. Again, I'm not talking about person A is going to do all of the front end. He's going to change all the red boxes to blue boxes or something like that. I just want to know, as a project, where were you when the semester started, and where are you going to be when the semester ends? And that kind of lets me track progress and see if projects are getting some of our running projects, if they're getting off track, or if we need to reconfigure. And sometimes what it lets me see is in projects like Venue, you can see where they've taken a complete 90-degree turn and have started doing something else, which is not always bad. Venue actually won a competition about a year ago from the eShip, from the business department. And in winning this competition, what they did was they did a user study, and they found out that in the time of COVID, sending people to see concerts and tracking attendance at external events for extra credit was not high on the list of priorities, but being able to do remote attendance was. So they took their technology, swapped it around, and changed directions. And that's the kind of thing, when you're doing that, telling me that in your proposal helps out a lot, because it lets me know where you're going, where you started, where you're going, what I can expect to see at the end of the semester. And then finally, whatever space you have left, feel free to go on to a second space if necessary. I want enough milestones such that every student can have 2 or 3 things that they're expected to work on through the course of the semester. So if you have 4 people, try to give me about 8 to 12 milestones, okay? And again, the milestones don't have to be, at 11:30 p.m. on July the 7th, we will have all the red squares changed to blue. What I want to know is, on or around week 2, we're going to work on or around week 2, our goal is to have all of the color refactoring done, right? Just give me something. So, and by the way, all the first 2 parts the first part was definitely for me. The second, and for anybody looking at your project externally, the second part was to help me understand where you're going and to help you formulate a plan for the semester so that you don't spend the first half of the semester spinning your wheels, not knowing what you're doing. And then the third part is definitely for you guys to help you develop a strategy, and so that when you come into the class or you come into your study group at the end of the day, you know what you're working on, right? I am tackling milestone 2. I have to work on it now because it's due by the end of the 3rd week, and if I don't get it done, the next milestone that's due at the end of the 6th week is not going to be able to be met, right? So this is kind of the structure of the semester, so everybody knows what they're doing and what they should be working on. Any questions about that? Trying to check the chat, but I'm not seeing too much. All right, so and of course I repeated myself. This is just another view of what I said before. And again, now I'm confusing myself. All right, project entry. The part I missed was you also should set up your GitHub, right? If you're a new project, you should set up your GitHub account. Nia's workshop will help you do that. We're a little flexible on how you do that. There's a number of different strategies. If you have 1 or 2 people on your project and you're a new project, you may want to just make everybody a collaborator and work from there. If you're a bigger project, they'll talk about something like using pull requests, and they might say something like a blessed repository structure. These are just different strategies for allowing people to work together without stomping on each other. The important things are you should have a GitHub account or GitLab, or I would go with, if you have to, we could do Mercurial or one of the other languages. We can help you a lot more on Git than we can on the other languages. So just keep that in mind. But you need to have a repository in general. If you're using an external project, you should probably fork it and make your own copy. The repository, to be valid for an RCOS project, you must either license it. If you're creating a new one, you must license it with an open source license. GitHub will help you pick, GitHub and GitLab both will help you pick a license. If you have any questions about the licenses, hopefully we'll get a workshop on it, or you can ask me questions. I'm happy to talk about licenses. It's a very boring topic that I find very interesting for some reason, so I'm happy to discuss it with anybody who's willing to listen. And then we want you to have a README, right? You're writing a proposal document. That sounds an awful lot like a README. What is the project about? What are you trying to accomplish right now? And what are the milestones? Maybe you want to augment it with how to get started. As you grow, you're going to want to add other documentation to it, codes of conduct, contributors' guides, etc. They're all strongly encouraged. But at a minimum, you should have a README that talks about what the project is, what you're intending to do, maybe how you work together. Maybe if you start as you start developing requirements for how people, you need NPM, and you need Visual Studios, and you need Docker. As you start getting these things together, you might want to throw in a getting started guide as well. But at least have a repository, a README, and you must have it licensed. Right? Don't get to the end of the semester and not have a license on your repository. It's really disappointing for us to go in and say, oh, what a great project, but it's not open source. right? You have to be doing open source contributions. And hopefully we'll catch that. I think we've missed it once in all the years. And this we talked about. Apparently I stopped doing this presentation and then went back and started again. And I think these last slides were the ones that I was supposed to strip out based on the other stuff. All right. We're still doing attendance the same way. If you've been here for the first 4 meetings, you know how we do it. I'm going to give a QR code. If you go to Venue on your phone and scan that code, it will mark you as having attended. There are some other ways you can do it. From the website, I guess, you can take a picture on your phone and then show it to the website on your camera on your laptop. I don't know. People have found interesting ways to do it. So if you're attending live, either remotely live or here live, QR code is going to be the easiest way. The second way is to watch the entire recording on Venue when I post it. I will put it on YouTube as well. But if you watch it on YouTube, Venue doesn't know about it and can't mark you as having attended. I did, by the way, on the subject of attendance, I did do Rainbow grades for the first week. I'm working on it for the second week. But if you come in, you should be able to see your attendance for 425 and 428 by going to Rainbow grades. And you can see that my attendance is kind of abysmal. But it's there. So, you should be able to see your attendance. If you have any issues with that, if you think you should be marked attended, remember that for attendance, I went off of whether you marked yourself as active on RCOS.io as an active developer for those first 2. So anyway, if you have any issues, come and talk to me or email, DM me. But they should be available for you there. And I plan to have the last week's lectures in the next couple of hours. All right, so that brings us to Venue. Here's the QR code for today. All right. Maybe I'll pop back just for a second so you guys can scan the right there's what I'm asking you to do, not what you think I want. Okay, there's the QR code for the Venue site. And there's Rainbow grade says April. It actually says Mainwright. Well, that's not working for me. Let's go back to this one. Okay, why are you doing that to me? All right. Now we have too many in one room and not enough in the other. All right. There. Venue site and the QR code for attendance. All right, that's all we have for today. Unless Evan, Nia, Hunter, anything you want to throw in?
All good for me.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Cool. Okay, so what we're going to ask you to do now is, you're welcome. This would be a good time to get with your groups. Make sure your proposal's done. The proposal is due next Monday. So Rainbow Gray says April. It actually means May, right? I don't know.
It's June currently.
What?
It's June. Shouldn't it be June, whatever?
Oh, four instead of five?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's just when I entered the gradable title. Months, dates apparently have escaped me recently. That should be May for both of those, for 525 and 528. I will change that. It will be fixed next time. I looked at it 7 times and counted, and still came up with 4 for May. Oh well. Anything else? All right, I'm going to stop the recording so that our asynchronous students don't have to watch too much more.